I tried to rearrange my son's marriage because I thought his wife belonged with my other son. Now my boys hate me, my family's in ruins, and I'm realizing I destroyed everything trying to play matchmaker. I know the title sounds awful. Believe me, I've read it back to myself a dozen times before deciding to post this, and it still makes me look like a monster. But I swear on everything, I never intended to hurt anyone. I didn't set out to destroy my family or play God. I honestly thought I was helping people I love see what was right in front of them. I'm a 58-year-old mother of 2 sons. My husband Tom and I have been married for over 30 years, and raising our boys has been the central purpose of my life. I've always been close to both of them, but I won't lie. Ben, my younger one, has always had a special place in my heart. He's artistic, thoughtful, the kind of man who listens when people talk. Lucas, the older one, is more reserved, practical, driven, serious. He's done well for himself. Good career, good house, but sometimes he forgets how to feel. 5 years ago, Lucas married Ava. She's 31 now, bright, beautiful, and sharp as a tack. I liked her from day one. She's warm and funny but grounded, the kind of person who could talk to anyone. The only problem, and I said this to Tom more than once, was that she and Lucas never seemed like a perfect fit. She was lively, spontaneous, artistic. Lucas is analytical and stoic. I used to joke that she needed someone who could meet her halfway, not someone who'd treat her like a business project. From the start, I noticed that she and Ben got along easily. They'd tease each other at family dinners, laugh about movies or songs I didn't recognize, and sometimes finish each other's sentences. I don't mean in a flirtatious way, more like an effortless wavelength, the same humor, the same rhythm. They could sit together and talk for hours without any awkwardness. Lucas would sit off to the side, scrolling on his phone, smiling politely, but clearly disengaged. I used to look at them, Ben and Ava, and think, that's what a real partnership looks like. It's not that I didn't love Lucas. I did, but he's cold sometimes. He's always been more focused on results than people. When he was young, he'd keep score on everything: grades, sports, awards. Ben, on the other hand, was about connection. He painted, he cooked, he cried during movies. I used to think if you could combine both boys, you'd have the perfect man. But life doesn't work that way, does it? Anyway, I started noticing cracks in Lucas and Ava's marriage about 2 years ago. She'd complain, nothing dramatic, just little sighs here and there. He works late again. We never go anywhere. He forgets anniversaries. The usual things women say when they feel unseen. I'd listen and nod, trying not to meddle, but inside I'd think, she needs someone who really sees her. Someone like Ben. I know how that sounds, but I never said it out loud. Not at first. I just started putting them together more often. I'd invite them both to help me plant flowers in the garden. Or I'd ask Ben to drive me somewhere, then forget to mention that Ava would be coming too. They'd joke and laugh and I'd think, see? This is what it's supposed to be. I wasn't trying to start an affair or anything scandalous. I truly believed I was helping everyone find their right place. One afternoon, Ava came over for coffee. Lucas was traveling for work. She looked tired, dark circles, quiet, not herself. She told me she and Lucas had argued the night before because he'd canceled dinner plans again. She said she felt like a roommate, not a wife. I told her maybe she needed more emotional compatibility, not just stability. She asked what I meant, and I said, "You and Ben have that kind of connection, don't you?" She laughed awkwardly and said, "He's your son, Marion." I said, "I know, but I see how you two get along. You understand each other." She didn't answer, just changed the subject. That should have been my sign to stop, but I didn't. A few weeks later, we were all having dinner at our house. Everyone had a bit of wine, me more than I should have. It was warm, the conversation light, and Ava and Ben were reminiscing about a concert they'd both been to years ago. Lucas barely looked up from his plate. I don't know what possessed me, but I laughed and said, "You two would have made a great couple." The whole table went silent. Ava froze. Ben looked at me like I'd slapped him. Lucas just stared. I tried to laugh it off. "Oh, come on, it's just a joke." But the damage was done. Ava got up and went to the bathroom. Ben hissed, "What is wrong with you?" Lucas didn't say a word, just collected his keys and told Ava they were leaving. The next morning, both of my sons called me, one after the other, and they were furious. Ben said, "You've ruined my relationship with my brother. He'll never trust me again." Lucas shouted that I was sick and that I'd crossed every line imaginable. He said I'd humiliated his wife and made them look disgusting. I tried to explain that I wasn't accusing anyone of anything, that I only meant they had similar personalities, but he wouldn't listen. Tom was livid too. He said, "Marion, what the hell were you thinking?" He told me I'd crossed a line no mother should ever cross. I told him everyone was overreacting, that I was trying to help. He said, "You don't help people by dismantling their marriages." Lucas and Ava haven't spoken to me since that night. They skipped Easter, ignored my birthday, and didn't invite me to the kids' recital. Ben's visits became awkward, then stopped altogether. Tom keeps saying I need to apologize and let it go. But apologize for what? For noticing what everyone else was too blind to see? Ava married the wrong son. Anyone could see that. I didn't push her into Ben's arms. I didn't create feelings out of thin air. I simply saw the truth and maybe said it out loud before anyone else dared to. Now, I'm the villain. I'm the manipulative mother who can't mind her own business. The whispers in the family are unbearable. Apparently, I tried to make my son's wife cheat. That's not true. I would never want to hurt Lucas. I just wanted him and Ava to have the lives they were meant for, even if it wasn't together. Tom keeps saying, "You need to stop controlling everyone." But that's not what this is about. It's about love and seeing where it actually belongs. So here I am, being called delusional, manipulative, disgusting, a homewrecker by my own family. All I wanted was for everyone to end up happy. Instead, my sons won't speak to each other or to me. My daughter-in-law looks at me like I'm a monster, and Tom sleeps in the guest room. Was I really so wrong for saying something everyone else was thinking? Or is my family overreacting to a harmless comment made with good intentions? Because I swear, I wasn't trying to destroy anything. I was only trying to help love end up where it belonged. Update 1. It's been 6 months since I posted here, and I'm still trying to make sense of what's happened to my family. The last time I saw any of them was the night everything blew up. Since then, there's been silence. No calls, no visits, nothing but distance. It's like I've been erased from their lives. Lucas and Ava cut contact immediately. I've called, I've texted. I sent birthday cards for the kids. Every single one came back in the mail, unopened. I still have the envelopes stacked on my kitchen counter. Tom told me to stop embarrassing myself, but I can't just not try. A mother doesn't stop trying to reach her own children. Ben has distanced himself too. At first he answered my calls, short and stiff, but a month later he sent one text that broke me. It said, "You used me to feed your fantasy. Don't call again." Fantasy. That's what he called it. As if noticing chemistry between two people is some delusional invention. I didn't make anything up. They had a connection. Anyone could see it. I didn't tell them to act on it. I only ever wanted to help them see the truth before it was too late. Tom, for his part, has been no help. He's furious that I drove a wedge between the boys. He thinks I overstep in everything. Maybe he's right about some of it, but he says it like I did this to be cruel. He doesn't understand that I've always had to be the one who sees what's really going on. He's too easygoing, too willing to let problems rot under the surface until they explode. That's not me. I fix things. He pushed me into therapy. I went once. The therapist listened to me explain what happened, nodded like she cared, and then said something about me, inserting myself into my son's relationships to feel relevant. I told her she was wrong, that I already am relevant, that everything I did came from love. She just kept looking at me like I was a case study. I walked out. I'm not paying someone to tell me I'm the villain in my own family. I've spent these months trying to piece together what's going on with everyone else through friends and relatives. That's how I found out the latest blow. Ben and Ava have been seeing each other again. A family friend mentioned it casually over coffee. I saw Ben and Ava downtown last week. They looked cozy. I nearly dropped my cup. Apparently they've been meeting up for coffee, going to art exhibits, talking things through. People are gossiping already. When I first heard it, I didn't know what to feel. There was this rush of something. Excitement, vindication, maybe even pride. Because after all the screaming, the accusations, the cutting me off, I was right. They do belong together. I told Tom, thinking maybe he'd finally understand, but he looked at me like I'd lost my mind. He said, "Marion, don't you dare say that. Lucas and Ava are still married." I said, "Maybe not for long." And I was right again. 2 weeks later, Lucas found out. I don't know the details, but I can imagine, knowing my eldest, it would have been ugly. The next thing I heard, Ava moved out. She and Lucas are separated, and before anyone asks, no, I didn't tell them to do it. I didn't encourage it. It happened on its own. They probably realized the same thing I did years ago. They never made sense together. But somehow, even though I had nothing to do with their choices, I'm the one everyone blames. Tom barely speaks to me now. He said, "You planted the seed, Marion. You might not have told them to act on it, but you made it possible." He acts like I'm some kind of puppet master pulling strings. I didn't seduce anyone. I didn't sneak behind anyone's back. All I did was say out loud what everyone already knew. Lucas sent me a message a few days later. It said, "You got what you wanted. I hope you're proud." I couldn't sleep that night. I read it over and over again. The words stung, but part of me wanted to scream back that I never wanted this pain. I wanted everyone to end up happy, not shattered. And then I saw the photo. Someone posted a picture of Ava and Ben together at a music event. They looked at ease, smiling, natural, like everything between them had been waiting to happen. I showed it to Tom and said, "You can't fake that kind of chemistry." He just said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." Ashamed? For what? Being right? But that feeling of vindication didn't last long. Within a few weeks, the whole thing fell apart. Ben called Tom, not me, of course, and said that he and Ava were done, that it was a mistake, that they never should have crossed that line. Now both my sons hate me. Lucas won't even speak my name. Ben told relatives he's taking space to rebuild his life. Ava blocked me on every platform. Tom has started sleeping in the guest room. He said last night, "You've made this house unbearable." I told him I wasn't the one who broke our family, that our sons are grown men who make their own choices. He said, "You taught them to turn against each other. You poisoned them." That word, poisoned, keeps ringing in my head. I don't think I poisoned anything. I think I uncovered truths that everyone else was too cowardly to face. Lucas and Ava's marriage was doomed because it was built on convenience, not compatibility. Ben and Ava connected because they share a wavelength, not because I arranged it. But try telling that to anyone in this family. They've already decided I'm the monster. I've stopped going to family events because people stare at me like I'm contagious. Friends I've had for years avoid certain topics. I see the judgment in their eyes. I'm the mother who tried to make her son's wife cheat. It's disgusting how twisted stories get when people want someone to blame. Sometimes, late at night, I start to wonder if maybe Tom is right, that maybe I push too hard, interfere too much. But then I think about the look on Ava's face when she laughed with Ben, how natural it was, how happy she looked before everything went wrong, and I know I wasn't imagining it. I might have handled it badly, but my instincts were never wrong. Now though, I have to live with the silence. The phone that never rings, the holidays that pass without my boys, Tom's cold shoulders. I still believe I did what I did out of love, not malice, but everyone around me seems determined to make me the villain in their story. Maybe they'll see the truth one day, that I wasn't meddling, I was trying to help them find happiness in the only way I knew how. Until then, I guess I'm alone in this house, being painted as a monster for wanting my family to end up where they belonged. Final update, update 2. It's been a year since everything fell apart, and I don't even recognize my own life anymore. The house is quiet now, emptier than I ever imagined it could be. There was a time when the weekends meant noise. Kids running through the hallway, Tom yelling at the game on TV, Ava chatting with me in the kitchen. Now the only sound is the hum of the refrigerator and the creak of the floorboards when I walk from one room to another. Tom left 6 months ago. He packed a few bags one morning while I was still in bed. He didn't yell or cry, he just said, "I can't keep living like this, Marion." I asked him what this even meant, and he said, "The constant control. The tension. You can't stop trying to run everyone's life, and it's killing us." Then he drove away. He sends money for the bills, but he hasn't set foot back in this house since. For the first few weeks after he left, I kept expecting him to come home. I'd cook too much dinner, set the table for 2 out of habit, and then sit there alone until the food went cold. But he didn't come back. Eventually I stopped setting the table at all. As for my sons, there's nothing left there either. Lucas moved out of state. He took the kids and started over somewhere far enough away that I couldn't drop by or interfere, as he likes to say. From what I hear through relatives, he's doing well. He has a new job, a new house, and apparently, a new girlfriend. I saw a picture of her once. She looks nothing like Ava, more polished, more corporate. The kind of woman who'd probably never sit around a table laughing at Ben's jokes or talking about music. Lucas always liked people he could manage, not people who made him feel something. But what hurts most is what he tells people about me. My cousin said he introduces himself as having one brother, no mother. That line gutted me. I gave that boy everything. I spent my whole life making sure he had every opportunity, every advantage. I was the one who stayed up when he was sick, who pushed him to be better, who made sure he never had to struggle. And now he acts like I never existed. Ben is worse in a different way. After everything with Ava fell apart, again, he vanished. The gossip died down, and then so did he. Not literally, but close enough. He stopped posting on social media, stopped answering messages. A friend of his told me Ben had some kind of breakdown, moved into a small apartment across town, and started seeing a therapist. I've written him letters, long ones, explaining that I understand why he's angry, but that I never meant for any of this to happen. No response, not even a text. I haven't heard his voice in almost a year. I don't even know if he's forgiven himself, let alone me. That's the part I didn't see coming. I thought I was trying to bring people together, but all I did was pit my sons against each other until they both broke. The strangest part is that I still believe, deep down, that I wasn't wrong about Ava and Ben. They did have something special. You can't fake the way they lit up around each other. I see it clearly now. They were right for each other, just in the wrong time, the wrong circumstances. Maybe in another life, where I hadn't opened my mouth, where things unfolded naturally, they could have been happy. But in this life, I ruined it. I forced something that should have been left alone, and I poisoned everything it touched. Sometimes I still dream about the old days. Family dinners when everyone laughed, holidays where we'd all cram into the living room. Lucas teasing Ben, Ava pouring wine, Tom carving the turkey. I keep those images like photographs in my head, frozen snapshots from a time before I opened my mouth and destroyed it all. I've tried to apologize. I've written more letters than I can count. I've sent messages through mutual friends, asking them to tell my boys I'm sorry. Nothing. It's like shouting into a void. The only reply I've gotten was from Tom a few months ago after I sent him a long email about missing everyone. He wrote back one sentence. "You can't fix this by pretending it wasn't your fault." He's right, I suppose. I spent months pretending it was all just a misunderstanding, that I hadn't really done anything wrong. But the truth is, I crossed a line no one should cross. I didn't just meddle, I manipulated. I convinced myself I was helping when really I was trying to control what wasn't mine to control. I see that now. I think, somewhere along the way, I stopped being able to accept that my boys were adults. I wanted to stay important, to keep being the person who could fix things. Maybe I was scared that if they didn't need me, they'd forget about me. And in that fear, I went too far. I tell myself I did it for love, and maybe that's true in its own warped way. But love twisted into obsession doesn't look like love anymore. It looks like interference. It looks like a mother who doesn't know when to stop talking. A few nights ago, I saw a photo online. Someone posted it from Tom's birthday dinner. It was the first time Lucas and Ben had been in the same room since everything happened. They were there with Ava. Yes, Ava. She'd flown back for the event. They were all in the picture together, standing side by side. But what struck me wasn't who was there, it was how they looked. They weren't smiling, not real smiles anyway, just those polite, strained expressions people wear when they're pretending everything's fine. You could feel the distance between them even through the screen, and yet they were there, together, without me. I wasn't invited. Of course I wasn't. But I stared at that photo for a long time. Part of me wanted to print it out and frame it, like proof that they're still a family, even if I'm not part of it anymore. The other part of me wanted to delete it from my memory completely. I think about calling them sometimes, but I don't. There's nothing left to say that they'd want to hear. I've said I'm sorry, but it's not enough. Apologies don't undo years of manipulation, no matter how well-intentioned. So now it's just me in this quiet house, and a lifetime of choices I can't take back. I still make coffee for 2 out of habit. I still check the mail hoping for something from Ben or Lucas. Even though I know better, every now and then I pick up the phone and scroll to their names, wondering if maybe, just maybe, this time they'll answer. They never do. I used to think I was the glue that held this family together. I see now that I was the spark that set it on fire. I wanted to guide love, to make sure everyone ended up where they belonged. Instead, I turned it into poison. They'll heal one day. I believe that. Lucas will find peace. Ben will find himself again. Ava will build the life she deserves. But when they do, it won't include me. I'll be a shadow they choose to forget. And maybe that's what I've earned.